Ever wondered how the pros make their videos pop? Today I'm going to pull back the curtain on what just might be the secret sauce of filmmaking: B-roll. You see it in every movie, every TV show, every great production has it, but it often goes unnoticed. And that's the point. It works behind the scenes, subtly shaping our experience. Without it, videos feel flat, unpolished, and well, just boring. So today we're going to talk about some of the most common mistakes that people make with B-roll so that you can avoid making these mistakes in your own work and be in a better position for your videos to stand out amongst the crowd. So what is B-roll? Well, when you're making a video, there's A-roll and there's B-roll. The A-roll is the primary footage, and the B-roll is the supplemental footage that complements what's happening in your primary footage. And there's different ways that this can take place because there's different types of videos that you can be making. So for the sake of today's discussion, let's imagine that we're looking at making an interview or a video like this where you're talking direct to camera and you have that secondary footage that's layered on top to keep things a little bit more visually interesting. So mistake number one, uninspired footage. It's all too common once you learn that you can add these different layers of video. It's all too common for people to capture footage by pointing their camera at something that is representative of what was being discussed. And it's not very interesting and it's not doing much. You have to remember that there's a story that's being told on multiple levels. There's whatever the person you're interviewing is saying, that is its own message, yes. But then visually, how can you represent that in a way that a story unfolds? So I've said it in many videos already, think in terms of sequences. The more you can learn to think in terms of sequences, the better you're going to be able to visualize how you can create a visual story with your filmmaking that unfolds for the viewer in a way that makes them feel something, in a way that makes them curious and interested in what's happening on screen. So that's the first mistake. Mistake number two, lack of variety. This goes along with what we were just talking about. Now you want to be creative with what you're capturing for your B-roll, and part of that comes down to mixing up the types of shots that you're gathering. You want to have wide, medium, and close-ups that are all a part of the story that is unfolding. And if you start thinking in those terms, along with thinking in terms of sequences, that's going to allow you to do just that. Mistake number three, failing to plan in advance. I'm sure you've heard the saying, those who fail to plan are planning to fail. And it's true. When you are developing ideas, when you're developing a vision for a video, it takes time. It's not something where you just pick up your camera, you start shooting, and everything comes out perfect. So if I'm conducting an interview, I'm going to try to do some research before the interview to determine what are some potential B-roll shots that I'm going to need. And then I'm usually going to try to schedule my shoot over the course of a couple days so that once I conduct the interview, I can take notes based on what was discussed and I can capture additional footage. So make sure you plan things in advance. You want to have enough time that your ideas can fully develop so that you can actually benefit from the creative process. Mistake number four, not filming enough. Now on this channel, I'm making videos for beginner videographers, people that are just getting started with filmmaking. If you are more advanced, then we have to have another conversation, which is probably taking things to the other extreme of filming too much. There is a balance, but if you are a beginner, more often than not, you're going to find yourself in a position where you sit down to edit and you realize you don't have enough footage because you just don't realize at this time in your journey how much footage it really takes to make a video. And so make sure that you're getting enough footage, and part of that is thinking in terms of sequences. When you think in terms of sequences and multiple types of shots and creative compositions, suddenly you're going to find you will have more footage as a result of that thinking and the planning that went into everything. Mistake number five, don't rush the edit. Now, in previous videos, I've talked about just moving straight ahead with the edit, just kind of plowing forward and trying to optimize your time. That doesn't mean rush to completion. That means get the first draft done so that you have a foundation that you're then building upon in follow-up drafts. You probably had to write papers in school. You probably had to do research papers. And you do the research and the planning, You make an outline, you write the paper, and then what happens? You look at it, you read it, you make notes, maybe somebody else looks at it and they give you feedback and you write another draft. Then maybe you do another round of edits. Don't rush things. Give things the appropriate time that they need in order to mature. So those are the mistakes that I think are most common with beginner filmmakers. If you think there's something I missed, leave a comment down below. If you are just getting started and you're thinking, what video editing software should I use? I've made a video on that topic and you can check that out next. If you're ready to get started making movies of your own, let me help you learn how to tell your story the way it deserves to be heard.